Since the events narrated in Das Rheingold, a long time has passed. Mankind has appeared, and Erde has borne Wotan the 9 Walküres, warrior maidens who bring the heroes slain in combat to Valhalla, where they form an army to defend the god's abode. Wotan is afraid lest Alberich should recover the all-powerful ring, now in the possession of the giant Fafnir, who's turned into a dragon to guard the treasure stolen from the Nibelungs. Wotan cannot retrieve the ring himself because of the agreements that bind him. Accordingly, he's returned to Earth, and from his union with a mortal woman, the twins Siegmund and Sieglinde have been born. Fate has subsequently separated them. Sieglinde has been married to Hunding, and Siegmund is leading the unhappy existence of a wanderer. A refugee arrives outside a hut built around a leafy ash tree and falls exhausted to the ground. Sieglinde, wife of the owner Hunding, takes pity on him and gives him water and mead. Sieglinde's loving compassion as she looks after the stranger and the stranger's growing fascination with her are immediately evident. Once revived, however, he's anxious to continue on his way, lest the misfortune that haunts him should also befall this beautiful and generous woman. But Sieglinde says he cannot bring misfortune to a house where it already dwells, and insists that he accept the hospitality she and her husband are bound by law to provide. Hunding greets their guest with suspicion, and the stranger finds himself obliged to tell his sad tale. After the loss of mother and twin sister, he was raised by his father, Wolf, whom he also lost, and his life since has been that of a lonely wanderer. One day, he says, he came to the aid of a beautiful girl to try to prevent her from an enforced marriage, but did not succeed. Moreover, he killed her brothers, whose kinsmen are now pursuing him. Hunding, with growing anger, reveals that he is one of the huntsmen, and were it not for the laws of hospitality, he would drive the stranger out into the night. Instead, he challenges him to a fight the following morning. He orders Sieglinde to go and prepare a bedtime drink for him, and they retire. Alone, the stranger recalls his father's promise to supply him with a sword if ever he is in danger. Sieglinde returns, having put a strong sleeping draught in her husband's drink. She tells him how, on her wedding day, an old man with one eye appeared and drove his sword into the tree up to the hilt, challenging those present to pull it out. No one has managed to do so, either then or since, but she is convinced that the hero who can draw the sword from the tree will free her from the shame she has had to endure as Hunding's wife. Sieglinde recognizes a look in the stranger's face which reminds her of the one-eyed man whom she knew to be her father. When the stranger tells her that his father's name was Welse, not Wolf, she knows he is the Welsung who will draw the sword from the tree and who is also her twin brother. She calls him Siegmund, and rejoicing in his name, Siegmund wrenches the sword from the tree trunk. Sieglinde is ecstatic and reveals that she is his twin sister. They fall into a passionate embrace before fleeing towards distant lands in search of a home. In Valhalla, the realm of the gods, Wotan asks Brunhilde, his favourite Valkyrie, to ensure that Siegmund wins his fight against Hunding. But Wotan's wife, Fricka, the goddess of marriage, intervenes to prevent her, saying that the lovers, who are the offspring of adultery and are guilty of incest, have violated the laws laid down by the gods. Fricka ignores Wotan's secret reason for helping Siegmund, that he needs a free hero who, unlike him, is not bound by agreements with the giants to retrieve the ring from Fafnir. Fricka claims that Siegmund cannot be free if he is controlled by Wotan, and the sheer force of her argument persuades Wotan to change his mind and forbid Brunhilde to let Siegmund win the battle against Hunding. Alone with Brunhilde, Wotan recognizes that he has been deceiving himself for a long time. Though master of the laws of the universe, he is also their victim. He confesses that having tired of the pleasures of love, he set out to conquer the world, entering into agreements unwisely, and giving the ring to the Nibelungs rather than returning it to the Rhine maidens. He is determined to win back the ring from Fafnir, and explains that he has arranged for Siegmund to achieve this unwittingly, providing him with an invincible sword, but that Fricka has made him realize that Siegmund is not free, but is merely a tool in his hands. He concludes that only the end of all that he has worked for will assuage the guilt of the gods, and it is for this that Alberich has been working. Wotan's despair deepens as he realizes that he must betray those he loves, and he even blesses Alberich's son, who will bring the world of the gods to an end. He orders Brunhilde to slay Siegmund and help Hunding, in accordance with Fricka's wishes. Brunhilde is torn between doing what her father tells her and carrying out his true wishes. Wotan threatens her with dire consequences if she disobeys him. Siegmund and Sieglinde are visibly weary. Now that Sieglinde knows true love, she's horrified at having belonged to a vile man, but her guilt feelings arouse her brother's indignation as he prepares for his fight with Hunding. Sieglinde is frantic with fear and despair. Her sombre forebodings grow until she finally collapses into Siegmund's arms. Brunhilde tells Siegmund that Wotan has withdrawn his favour, that he is to perish in the fight, and that she herself will take him to join the heroes in Valhalla. For Siegmund, however, love comes before all else, and on hearing that Sieglinde cannot accompany him to Valhalla, he refuses to obey the Valkyrie's orders. He threatens to kill Sieglinde to save them both from disgrace, despite the news that she is expecting his child. Brunhilde is deeply moved by the hero's love, and decides to disobey her father's orders and help him. Siegmund leaves Sieglinde asleep and sets out, brandishing his sword, to fight Hunding. But just as, with Brunhilde's help, he's about to deal the mortal blow to Hunding, Wotan appears and breaks Siegmund's sword in two with his spear, thus enabling Hunding to slay Siegmund. Brunhilde appears once more and carries Sieglinde away on the back of her horse, while Wotan sorrowfully gazes at the body of Siegmund. He addresses Hunding contemptuously and fells him with a gesture of his hand before launching a harsh and angry attack on the disobedient Brunhilde. Brunhilde's sisters are gathered together, each bringing a slain hero to Valhalla. They're horrified when Brunhilde arrives carrying a woman on her horse, and they refuse to help her. Sieglinde wants only to die, but the knowledge that she is expecting a son transforms her, and she is seized with a boundless joy which moves the Valkyries. They tell her that she will be safe if she goes and hides in the forest where Fafnir, the dragon, is hiding with his treasure. Brunhilde gives Sieglinde the pieces of the shattered sword and tells her that the child she bears is Siegfried, who will be the greatest and noblest of heroes. Sieglinde sets off towards the wood where Fafnir lives, and the Valkyries rally round Brunhilde to protect her from Wotan's anger. Wotan unleashes the full force of his wrath on Brunhilde, precisely because it is she, his most beloved daughter, who has offended him. His sentence is without mercy. Stripped of her divine status as a Valkyrie, she will be abandoned on a rock as a mere mortal maiden, to be taken by the first man who comes along. Her father is unmoved by her sister's pleas. Father and daughter are left alone. Brunhilde skillfully defends her position in terms of loyalty to her father's will. Finally, she bows to Wotan's decision, but appeals to his sense of honor. Before plunging her into a deep sleep, Wotan decides to grant her only request, which is that she should be placed within a circle of magic fire, so that only a hero who knows no fear can reach her. Wotan lovingly kisses his daughter, who falls asleep in his arms. He lays her on a flat rock covered by her shield, and summons Loge to light the flames around her. Only one freer than himself will be able to win her.